Okay. Loading in. 10, 9. All right, we are live. Okay, let me mute this. Hey, everybody, it's Sam with The Blind Life. We have a really special live stream going on today. I don't think anybody's in here right now, but somebody will be soon. But for those of you watching this in the future, welcome. We have a very special guest today. We're going to be talking about a Microsoft 365 apps or the Microsoft Office add-in, or basically accessibility, how to make your documents and your presentations and all of that good stuff, how to make it accessible for everybody, a really easy way to make it accessible. And let me see, let me get some things rearranged here. Stuff you always have to do here at the beginning. Okay, we'll get rid of that. Okay. So I am joined by Mr. Matt Philipenko. Matt, thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely. It's good to be here. Okay? Yep, I got you.
Oh, I can't hear you, Matt. I don't know if you muted or...
There we go. Can you hear me now? 1 second.
Oh, wait, I know what I did. Sorry. Hold on. I hear you. I'm sorry. Let me fix this. I muted my TV and not the actual. I'm going to turn this off real quick.
There we go. Can you hear me now? 1 second.
Oh, wait, I know what I did. Sorry. Hold on. I hear you. I'm sorry. Let me fix this. I muted my TV and not the actual. Of course, I have problems every time. Never fails. All right, we're going to turn this off. Okay, now I won't have feedback, and I can still hear you, and we're all good. Now we can continue. I swear, someday, I say it every time, someday I will figure out the live streaming and get it right. But this is new. We're live streaming through Zoom. I've never done this before also, so it's not my fault entirely. But anyway, like I was saying, Matt, thank you so much for joining me. Why don't you let everybody know who you are, and your position at Microsoft?
Yeah. Yep. My name is Matt Philipenko. For anybody that's listening that's totally blind, I'm a 40-year-old male with brown hair, turning gray. I got more hair than Sam. Sam's got a bigger beard than me, though. So
mine's grayer than yours is, though.
Yeah. But so I am married, 3 children. My wife's Dana. I call her my seeing wife and my seeing kids because they're fully sighted and they help me a ton. I've been at Microsoft 9 years, and I work on a team called M365 Apps Rangers, which is why I'm so plugged into the applications or Office, that kind of look and feel for stuff. But a passion is the accessibility side. It's not a job requirement. I don't work in the accessibility org at Microsoft, but I'm a user of it. I have Stargarts just like Sam. So it's a passion. I want to see documents accessible, because when they're not accessible for me, I can't do my job if things aren't being created. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask about that. Yeah. So Matt's a fellow Star Guardian, which is awesome. Where did the Ranger come from? Where I saw that in your email signature. Why do you call yourselves Rangers?
So when I first joined Microsoft, I've been here 9 years. I started in Premier Support. So my old job, it was super easy because I worked in a building. I showed up, I could zoom my screen. Nobody knew that I had Stargarts. I kept it. Actually, for the first 4 years at Microsoft, I hid it. I didn't tell anybody. So I didn't really say anything. And then I transferred from the Premier Support into a role called Premier Field Engineer, where you basically flew around to different customer sites and you had to fix stuff. That's where my eyesight came out of the closet, because I couldn't hide it anymore. So So we did that for a while. We worked with the product group all the time. We call them the engineering team, or product group are the folks that make Office and make the features, make the tools and stuff. We worked with them all the time. And then my manager, Amesh, he was going to build this team, and we were thinking of a name. We thought of SWAT first, but then there was another SWAT team at Microsoft, and we liked the idea of Rangers, because Ranger always just kind of, like, when you think of like an Army Ranger, they just get in there and they just like handle stuff. So so that's what our vision was for this M365 Ask Ranger team, was like to help customers, government, commercial, consumer, it doesn't matter who it is. Our role was to help them install Office, update Office, activate Office, and then my section, which I take a lot of pride in, is the accessibility side. So that's kind of where the Ranger name came from. We built the team. We've been around for almost 4.5 years. Last year was our first year working in the product group. Before we were working for Microsoft in our customer success organization, and then we were like loaned to the product group. And then last year in July, they did a thing internally we call a reorg. They just reorged us into the product group. So now we're in the same engineering team, reporting to the same management line as the product group now, and it's been incredible.
Cool. Yeah. And so that brings us in nicely to, what we're here to talk about today, which is this among other things, but this accessibility add-in for the Microsoft 365 products, which is essentially Microsoft Office. So, and this is just a free add-in that you can install. So why don't you tell us a little bit about it? Tell us, give a real quick overview of what it is and then how it came about.
Yeah, so it's called the Accessibility Reminder add-in, and you can get it from the store. I'll show us on a quick demo once we get done explaining it, basically how to install it, and then a quick walkthrough on how to use it. But the whole purpose around it, we have a team based in Dublin, and they've been leaning into accessibility big time. They knew I was low vision. As I said at the beginning, I kind of hid it for 4 years, but once I figured out that if I talk to people and I tell them that I have low vision, I can inspire others. Like it's like an avalanche effect. I mean, once you start talking, everybody jumps on, and that's what happened with this Dublin team. Terry and a lot of really great teammates over there that work at Microsoft started putting together the add-in, and then I would kind of beta test it and flush it out for them, and they would say, hey, does this work? Do you like this? And the whole purpose around it was that if we're collaborating with someone and they're putting screenshots inside a document or a PowerPoint, or they're doing something where I'm collaborating with you and you're fully sighted and I'm low vision, or I'm blind and I'm a screen reader, I use a screen reader. Now with this accessibility reminder add-in, it's up on my toolbar. I can click on it. I can drop in a comment that says screen reader or low vision, and I choose which one I want. And then it will basically link out to docs.microsoft.com articles that are help articles that show people like the best practices to make sure you're adding alt text to your images, and make sure that your color contrast is good on image. Like, don't lay and having a title slide inside PowerPoint. Just making sure that whatever you're creating is accessible to everybody. So that was kind of the purpose behind the add-in. It's to give the blind and low vision folks a voice. And the coolest part is it's anonymous. When I post it inside the document that I'm collaborating on, it shows up as an anonymous comment from the accessibility reminder add-in. And it doesn't say, hey, Matt Philipenko said this thing's not accessible, fix it. It just says it's basically alerting it that everybody sees that comment in there. And now everybody can know that, okay, I'm working with someone on the team is low vision or blind, and I need to make sure that I'm doing my due diligence to make sure that they can have the same impact.
Yeah, that's awesome. Although, let's be honest, on your team, everybody's gonna be like, it was Matt put it in.
Oh yeah 100%. A lot of people internal at Microsoft call me like an accessibility bulldog, because like I'm extremely transparent. I'm extremely candid, because I mean, I've seen people like impacted by I'm impacted by it, but at the Visions 2022 conference, you talked about that not too long ago on your channel.
Yeah.
And we had multiple people at our booth that were coming up in tears after we showed them how to use some of these tools, because they've never been able to see their desktop. And it like that gives me enough. I mean, it fires me up. So
Well, you see why I've been doing the channel for so long, because I'm the same way. It's exciting when you show people what's possible out there.
Yep.
Cool. Well, speaking of that, how about you show us?
Excellent. Yep. All right. So I'm going to get in here. I will share my screen.
While you're doing that real quick, I love the fact that you talked about how you turned your vision impairment into an asset for your job. A lot of people, and we're going to talk about this. Matt's actually going to be on, I'm doing a new series soon about VIPs working, and I'm going to record something with Matt for that, and we'll talk about it more there. But a lot of people see their vision impairment as a hindrance for their employment, but in a lot of situations, could be an asset, could be a big asset.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Real quick before I share, we just helped a gentleman that I met at Visions. We helped him create a PowerPoint. I worked with a bunch of people internally at Microsoft. We helped him add the slides, add the charts, add all this stuff. He was doing an interview for another big Fortune 500 company, got the job, and he didn't, like, it was so cool because like he didn't say anything about his vision. He just showed up and rocked this interview with this PowerPoint presentation. And then after it, then he was like, hey, I'm low vision. And they were super like accommodating. They were helping him get jaws laid out. They were like, cool. I mean, all the stuff. So it was like, there's a lot of benefits to when you share. But let me share my screen here really quick. Can you see? All right.
I see it.
Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is, not open OneNote. Let me close that. Sorry. So I'm going to launch Word, just like I would be collaborating with anybody in Microsoft Word. Open up a blank document. I'm on a newer version, just so if anybody's wondering, I'm on the monthly enterprise channel. And here's my build and version number. I can also change my channel to like newer beta builds. So if you're wondering why my background is dark, especially the paper, like you've had like the dark themes for a while, but now you can have the actual physical paper, the text background be dark as well. So like those are on newer versions of Microsoft 365 apps. You need to make sure that you're not on the 2019 or 2021 or 2016 versions. You need to get on the subscription version. Yeah. So next up here, what I'm going to do is, sorry, this is really, I'm going to actually zoom in. And find my stuff right here. So here's my store. So I'm gonna zoom in, just if that's cool.
Yeah, you do you. This is how most of us probably use it anyway.
Sweet. Okay. So I cool tip, pro tip. I have a Microsoft mouse. I use Microsoft mouse and keyboard, and I program it to the mouse. That's why I jumped in. And then I have my mouse pointer actually set larger and darker, so I can see it and it stands out. But what I do is I went to the insert tab in Microsoft Office or Microsoft Word, and then I went to get add-ins. So that brings up this get add-in page. And now I'll move down a little bit. It's gonna show up a few add-ins here. And then what I can do is I can type in reminder, hit the search box. It has Microsoft Accessibility Reminder is the first one here. I'm not going to add it because I already have it added, but you'll see it has like this purple shield with the accessibility Microsoft logo or icon sitting on top of it. Mine's already installed, so I will exit this. Once you install it, what it's going to do is it's going to come up here and have the Accessibility Reminder tab in Microsoft Word. This will also work in Excel and PowerPoint.
Now, real quick, when you install it, is it like other programs where you'll have to restart Word, or is it just automatically pop up?
These are modern add-ins, or they call them agave add-ins, so it's going to drop right in with it. So it's really, really cool. If you work at a big company like Microsoft or Amazon or Apple or Google or like any big, we call them enterprise customers, you may have to reach out to your IT admins and say, hey, can you allow this accessibility reminder add-in in the store? Some enterprises lock down the store so that users can't install like tons of add-ins on their devices.
Yeah.
But low vision comment, I click on it and then I'll zoom out. And then you'll see where it had my text cursor here, where the purple's at. And then it drops this modern comment in over here. And I'm going to zoom in on this. And basically it calls out that there's an accessibility reminder. There are accessibility issues within this document and that you need to work with the person with low vision there, and basically kind of calls it out that they need to make sure that things are accessible.
Okay.
And then it links you to this. Creating accessible content. This is especially important for people that collaborate with people with low vision. A lot of times I've been on tons of calls at Microsoft. We are huge. I mean, thousands and thousands of people that work here. And it's very common that documents are not accessible. We're working on features. There's these things called FHL or hackathons that teams get to like hack and build cool projects. That's where this accessibility reminder actually came from, was from a FHL or Fix Hack Learn event, where Microsoft gives our org, the engineering org, gives people a week, 40 hours. You get the whole week off. You can turn on your OOF in your Outlook and just hack all week. Or you can learn. If I wanted to read a book for a week, I could read a book. But a lot of folks lean in on like passionate things like accessibility tools. That's where a lot of these things get spun up and built, is during that Fix, Hack, Learn week, where everybody can just fully dedicate and lean in and help build stuff.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
But yeah, this is the accessibility reminder. It's available when you go to the Microsoft Store, like I showed there. So let me close Word really quick. Not going to save it to my OneDrive. And then I'm going to jump into PowerPoint. The other thing that I wanted to show, I kind of showed this when we were doing the presentation at the Visions conference. But basically, this is Microsoft PowerPoint in the Microsoft 365 apps. I have it set up in designer view, so I'm not sharing like the whole screen. I'm not presenting. That's why the tabs are over here on the left. But what I want to do is I want to draw your attention. I'm going to zoom in down on the bottom in Microsoft 365 apps. Now there's this new thing that says Accessibility Investigate. If I hover over it, the tooltip even tells you accessibility recommendations found, meaning, hey, this thing it's not accessible. If it is accessible, it will say accessibility good to go behind it. But what's cool is when I click on this icon, it jumps into the accessibility checker. And let me figure out how to, yep, I can move that. So I'm going to move us over. So now you'll see the accessibility reminder here. And then you'll see that I'm missing a slide title on 2 slides. My warnings are check reading order, and then alternative text on a bunch of these images. So what I can do though is I can go in and I check the reading order, I check the alternative text. So I can click on this. It brings me to the actual slide with the alternative text that I need. And then what I can do is I can come back to this. I click this drop down. It used a thing called automatically generate alt text. So it said a green pool with a stone walkway. And then it says description automatically generated with very low confidence. The reason why it says this is it uses AI to build that alternative text. When we look at this image, That is not a green pool, and that is not a green roof. Looks like stairs with a bad ramp built. I don't know. It's not a pool.
Right.
So basically, why I kind of want to show the accessibility checker and the accessibility alt text pieces is to make sure, if you have automatically turn on alt text, you want to make sure that you're going in there and editing these to provide the best description possible to a screen reader. Because if you're using a screen reader and you're going through this, it will not work as well. It'll read that description, and that description is not what we're trying to convey.
Right.
But yeah, some pretty cool little features that you can use within PowerPoint and Office and all the different great options here.
Yeah. Is this accessibility checker, is that already in, or is that something someone has to install also?
So this is included in version 2016, 2019, 2021. The accessibility checker is there. The only caveat here is that the accessibility checker itself, you have to go under review tab in PowerPoint, and then there's this check accessibility right here. You click on check accessibility. That will invoke the check accessibility, or the ACC checker, accessibility checker is what we'll call it. But
okay.
Hey, Matt, we just lost your sound. I can see his mouth moving, but we can't hear him speaking.
Oh, I think that happened a minute ago too.
Yeah, he must not be able to hear us either because he keeps talking.
Rachel's here, by the way.
He's still talking.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Is it possible to maybe text him or something?
Yeah, I could put in there's a chat down below. We could send him a chat, or it's up top now, I guess. Yeah.
Accessibility checker, like you asked, is inside all of them. Did you find it on yours?
No, your sound went out for a second there, and I don't think you could hear us either.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's all right. That's all right.
Hey, Matt, I'm here too, Rachel.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
There's a couple questions in here that I was going to go ahead and ask. One of them, someone asked if you demonstrate anything else in there, instead of saying that you're clicking on this tab or icon, can you say where you're at on the screen, like top right or top left, because they can't necessarily see your mouse.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah. So real quick to kind of reiterate, if I'm going to zoom in with magnifier, oh, come on, go back in. There we go. Zoomed in. I'm on the top left-hand side of the screen, and I'm on the toolbar. It's File, Home, Insert, Draw. You move your mouse all the way to the right over to Review. Click on Review, and then you move down into the toolbar. And I'm moving to the left, I'm on the top left side of the screen, and I'm going to choose Check Accessibility. If I just click on that, then it gives me an option to check accessibility, alt text, reading order, options for accessibility. I'm going to choose check accessibility, and that's where it will open up this on that right-hand side of the screen. It opens up a flyout, and it's called the accessibility checker. And then that's where it will give me options to make all the adjustments to the PowerPoint, to the Word document, to the Excel file.
And then someone else was just asking, are you just using the Windows magnifier? Is that what you're using to magnify in right now?
That's correct. Yep. I use Windows magnifier, and then I also have I'm on a beta version of Windows, which has the new natural voices included inside of it.
Matt played those for me earlier, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute, what voice is that? That is awesome.
let me actually, I'm on the left-hand side of the screen. I just clicked on a slide title, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on Windows Narrator, and then that way everybody can kind of hear those new voices. I have mine set to Microsoft Guy is the person's name.
Just a Microsoft guy.
Yeah.
Thumbnails pane, slide demo read aloud, dictate, immersive, slide 26, demo read aloud, dictate, immersive reader, title text box.
So it's really nice. It's a really soothing voice now.
It is very friendly.
Yeah. Yep.
Text box.
So this one, you can see that it doesn't have the alt text set inside
Title
it yet.
text box. Text box.
But let me exit the narrator here really quick.
Exiting narrator.
So it's a nice new soothing voices. There's 3 new voices in there. And it's just been an awesome deal.
When will those be available? Do you know?
It's on. I can find out, and then I can let you know. It's I'm on the beta channel, so since it's on the beta channel, it's very soon after that.
Yeah. Okay.
But let me. Where do I go? Settings in the middle of the screen for those folks that are following along. I'm not zoomed in. I right clicked on the Windows icon on the taskbar, and then that gets me into a sub menu. I went into settings. Now I'm on the left hand side of the screen, and I'm under accessibility. We changed the name from ease of access to accessibility in Windows 11. So now it's all rechanged. A lot of the same great tools that are in here. We made some advancements around the contrast filters and things like that. But what I wanted to show you was the narrator. Add natural voices. So I can click on add. I already have mine added. So if I'm in the middle of the screen zoomed in, I'm going to hit choose a voice. And these are the natural voices. I have Aria, Jenny, and Guy. And then if I turn on Windows Narrator here, I switched it to Jenny.
Settings window, choose a voice, Microsoft Jenny, natural, English, United States, combo box, collapsed. Exiting narrator.
So pretty cool voices.
Yeah, nice.
It's going to be awesome to have these out.
Yeah, I did a whole video on Windows 11 accessibility and featured. I even did a whole video specifically on. I think I did a whole video specifically on the new themes, new high contrast themes, and all that, because there was a lot of change in there.
Yeah. One thing that was really an eye opener, and Freedom Scientific is amazing software. Zoom Text is amazing software. I recommend it. But one of the things that was an eye opener for a lot of people was the ability that they could have Windows Narrator inside Windows and Microsoft magnification through the magnifier tool, and be able to have it all included just within Windows. And they didn't have to purchase any sort of extra cost. So if you have Windows 11 or Windows 10, Windows 11 is going to be the best one because it's going to have all these latest new accessibility improvements in it. But if you're on Windows 10 or Windows 11, you have a lot of assistive technology that's already there. So I would, one thing that I would implore and kind of challenge everybody to do that listens to the channel is to lean into what you have. Call me out on this video in the comments, and like we can have I'll monitor the comments and stuff with Sam and Rachel as well. But I want to make sure that everybody has the support they need to get the tools they need.
Yeah. If you guys have any questions in the chat right now, let us know. Rachel's monitoring that. Afterwards, if you guys have any, you're watching this later on after the live show, if you want to leave a comment, we can definitely check those as well. Real quick, I want to share my little story with the accessibility checker. I found that several months ago, even before Matt reached out and was telling me about the reminder. I had already known about the accessibility checker, and I love it. In fact, even just the other day, I was, okay, we got you back, Matt. Excellent. Thank you. I was sending an invoice to somebody, and I have an invoice template that I created in Word, and I went to save it as a PDF so I could send it to this person, and there was a big yellow bar on there, and it said, whoa, wait, you got some alt text issues. And so like, oh, okay. So I go back, and sure enough, yeah, my little signature bar thing down at the bottom, it wasn't, I had my logo on there, and I didn't have any alt text on that picture, that image. And so I was like, oh, that's not I should probably do that. I should practice what I preach. And so I filled it in, and thank you, accessibility checker.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, so we call them tool tips in Outlook. So if people have Exchange Online or Outlook Web Access, a lot of companies have that opportunity for employees to have. if you go into your Exchange Online, you log into your email, portal.office.com, sign in, you have access to your email. When you click on the gear and you go to your settings, there's an accessibility section in there. And in there, there's an option now that you can check a box that says, I prefer accessible content. And what that does is it adds a flag inside Exchange for you, so that if you and I are on a distribution group together and I email that distribution group, you're going to get that tooltip that you got, that yellow bar that said, whoa, hold up, you're sending something. And it's that mail tip is what helps people. Even if you just do a screenshot with like Snagit or the Windows snipping tool or something like that, or print screen in Windows, and drop it into an email address, it's going to add that tooltip up on the top to remind the sender that, hey, there's no alt text in this thing.
Yeah. And there's other great accessibility in those programs as well. Like I even turned on the little Audible cue whenever I do something, like when I Control S for save. You'll get it'll make a little Audible cue letting you know, okay, that actually did something.
Yeah.
There's good stuff.
All right,
Awesome.
we got some questions here. You guys ready?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, so Mackenzie is asking, do any Microsoft 365 apps, when installed on Android, do they work with commentary screen reader for Android? Do you guys know?
Matt.
So from a screen reader perspective, I would I have an iPhone, so I don't use a lot of Androids. I used to. I can double check on that. If it's a comment in there, I'll follow up and I'll ask, but it's right out from the get-go, as long as the Microsoft 365 app, if you're in like presenter mode, like I know on my iPhone, when I'm viewing someone's presentation, like there's a lot of times I'm not at home and I don't have my laptop with me, and I'll pull up someone's PowerPoint on my cell phone. And if I have the screen reader tool turned on, I'll double tap on the back of my iPhone, invoke voiceover, and it will read all the text to me.
Okay, so Mackenzie, check back in the comments section and Matt will get an answer for that in here. Rob is asking, do these features work on a Windows 11 tablet?
So a lot of these features, basically anything with Microsoft 365 apps, the accessibility checker is going to be in there. The accessibility reminder will be able to go in there. So yes, from the voiceover and magnifier options, I would the easiest way to double check on there is if you're using a tablet, if you can launch the keyboard and then use the Windows plus key to invoke the magnifier, that will launch it for you.
Yeah, I was going to ask Matt, without getting yourself in trouble, what are your thoughts on Windows magnifier on a touch screen?
I don't.
Not the best.
I have a Surface laptop now.
Mm-hmm.
Before I had a Surface Book, and when I would press the button and undock the Surface Book to where it turned into a nice 15-inch tablet, I would undock it and I would have to like invoke it. I'd have to pinch zoom. It's definitely. I see more benefits with the magnifier tool by using it with a mouse.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If you're at the point, and this is just some I'm at this point right now. I was just talking to Sam earlier before we went live about, I'm at the point now where my visual acuity is getting low enough to where I'm starting to convert to speech. I'm trying to hold on and grasp these strings of sight and say, oh no, you're not taking it from me. But like I'm at this point now where I'm like, I have to convert to voiceover. So what I'd recommend doing is on a tablet and things like that, it might be hard to navigate with the magnifier. So I would urge you to turn on, like hook up Bluetooth headphones, especially if you're out in public. So it's not like reading text or reading your emails to everybody that's around you. But hook up some Bluetooth headphones to it and then use voiceover.
Okay, Joker Alice said, hey, Sam, how much better has narrator gotten? Because there's sometimes when I do rely on it, but it doesn't seem to be NVDA. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, it's I should say, first of all, I'm not a full-time screen reader user, so I don't have, expertise on this, but in my opinion, it's way better than it used to be. They've really improved it over the last couple of years. They've improved all their accessibility. And one thing I'll kind of add real quick to what Matt was saying about using the built-in accessibility versus a third-party program like Zoom Text. Zoom Text is fantastic, but it's a very heavy program. It's very resource intensive. So if you are wanting to run Zoom Text and then like I would be editing a video, forget about it. It's unless you have a beast of a computer, it's just Zoom Text is going to slow everything down. Whereas the built-in accessibility like Microsoft Magnifier, Windows Magnifier, and all that doesn't. It just works really well. It does still kind of pull some resources, but not nearly as bad as Zoom Text. And the price, you can't beat the price. But as far as narrator, it is much, much better than it used to be. I always say it used to be kind of the joke in the screen reader world. But it's not, I don't think it's still as good as NVDA and JAWS, just because those are programs built specifically for that. So all that money and everything they're putting into just that program, only doing that. But narrator, once again, if you can't afford JAWS, which is like, several $100s or a subscription, narrator is a great option. And you'll be able to do pretty much anything you want to with it.
Yeah.
And now with some new voices.
I want to kind of echo that too with Sam is like, I work at Microsoft. I know a bunch of people that are screen readers at Microsoft that have JAWS on their computer. So we use narrator, we use JAWS. We're going to use the different tools that we need to use to get the job done. There's even folks like when we do conferences and things like that, I've heard people say before where they say, hey, go out and buy a copy of JAWS. But like Sam was saying, if you're working at a company or you're self-employed or you're at home and you can't do something, it's definitely that free is better than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to mention it's available if you need to hop on someone else's computer or whatever too, where JAWS is going to be there.
Good point.
100%. Yeah, and when I would go on site with customers, I would invoke the magnifier all the time because if I don't have magnifier and I need to read Rachel's name, this is what I'm doing. Like I can't read it. It's so stinking small. And like that would make customers feel really uncomfortable if you were like, hold on a second, let me get in your face. And like,
yeah,
I mean, it was just awkward. So like free is really good. And you can on any keyboard, the default for magnifier is Windows Plus and it launches it. And Windows Escape will shut it down. So it's super simple to use. But I completely echo and think that, it is your preference. I was just on a call last week with a bunch of folks on accessibility, and everybody was saying to be really good at accessibility, you're going to have everything. Like you're going to have a huge toolbox of stuff that you use to get the job done.
Yeah. Okay. Faith is asking if it's possible to invert the color of older versions of Windows Office, like in Word, to a dark mode instead of white for those who are light sensitive.
It depends on which version of Office. If you go to in your Office application, if you go to File and then you go to Account, it's on that left-hand side. I'm not sharing my screen or anything right now. I'm just kind of giving a verbal cue of like, go to File and then Account, and it will tell you which version you're on. If you comment back to your question with the version that you're on, I can look up and link you to a section if those dark themes and those dark modes are available in that version.
Okay.
Something else though, I'll add, if you're using Windows Magnifier, you can always really quickly Control Alt and I, and that will invert your screen. I for invert. So it's not, you're not inverting just that app, you're inverting everything. But if you're in that app and it's just too much and you're using Windows Magnifier, it only works when Windows Magnifier is turned on. Control Alt I will invert that.
Faith said Windows 10 version.
Okay. So you're on Windows 10, but in Microsoft Office, if you open up Microsoft Word and then go to File and Account, in the middle of the screen, I can, if you don't mind me sharing again really quick, Sam.
Yeah.
I'll share really quick. I'm going to go to my start bar. I'm going to type Word. I'm in the middle of the screen with my black mouse here, and then I'm going to click on Word. Once Word fully launches, if I go up to File, and then I go to, on the top left-hand side, I hit File. On the bottom left-hand side, I'm going to hit Account. And then in the middle of the screen right here, I'm zoomed in now, right next to the box that says About Word, it's going to tell you the version that you're on.
So like his version is 2205. So it's
correct.
not going to be a small number like your Windows version.
Correct. Yep. And then it'll say like monthly enterprise channel, semi-annual channel, I maybe say current channel. And then it will also up here at the top, it's going to show you that you're on a subscription Microsoft 365 apps for enterprise product. So that's where you would find out. And once I know which version you're on, then we can go in there. But once you know the version, if you go to File and then Options, when I'm in the Options menu, I can go to Display, and then that's where or General, sorry. And then under General, when I'm in here, I can do Office Theme, and then Office backgrounds and things like that. I have mine set to black. There's dark gray, there's white, there's a system setting where if I have Windows set to dark mode. So if I use Windows settings, it would do it as well, but I have mine set to black here currently.
Okay. So Rob is asking, he said, is Mac still better than Windows for accessibility features? So what are you, Sam, you never really have used Mac hardly at all, have you? Like Mac computers?
No, but I'm always hesitant to say something is better than another thing, because it's just, what might be better for me doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be better for you. As I said before, budget is always my first concern. Macs are crazy expensive. I can get a beast of a PC, Windows PC, for the same price as a mid-range Mac. But you're generally gonna have success with whatever system you go with, because they both have basically the same accessibility. They both have a screen magnifier. They both have a screen reader. They can change their colors. They have color filters. Mac might have extra little features here and there. Windows might have extra little features. Windows magnifier might work slightly better than Windows Zoom, than Apple Zoom, but Apple VoiceOver might work slightly better than Narrator. So it's just one of those things. The other thing is, unless you have them side by side to compare them to, you're never going to know. So I say take into consideration the other aspects. Budget. Are you already an Apple, an iPhone, an iPad user? Well, then you might look at Mac, because those are going to sync up together a little bit easier than your iPhone and your Windows computer. But even that's not even that necessarily a deal breaker, because I sync my iPhone up with my PC all the time. So I always look at the other criteria, and worry about the accessibility afterwards. And that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Mackenzie said another text-to-speech program you can use with Microsoft apps is the Amazon text-to-speech. She said the Matthew voice from Amazon is her favorite. She loves that voice.
Right on.
Other options. Tyson said, greetings, I am an NVDA user. I was wondering if you have to do anything special to get it to read in Word, or does it just do that automatically?
Any experience with NVDA, Matt?
I don't. Any screen reading that I do, I use the narrator in Windows, and then on my iPhone, I use VoiceOver from Apple. But off the top of my head, I mean, I'll research it and then comment back to the comment on the channel. But off the top of my head, most of the readers and screen readers will automatically read There are although I do want to clarify, I see a lot of accessibility bugs inside Microsoft when they get submitted through different channels, either if it was a disability answer desk or enterprise disability answer desk, which is available for enterprise customers. Those accessibility bugs that come in, sometimes there's accessibility bugs where something works with narrator, doesn't work with JAWS, or works with JAWS but doesn't work with NVDA. So you're definitely going to have some differences there between each developer and kind of how things are tested out. But I'll double check, make sure. I'll check.
Actually, Joker Alice just popped in and said it reads automatically. So
beautiful. Okay.
there we go.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say that surely other people have run into that if there was a problem, and surely you could probably just Google it and get the answer very quickly if there was an issue. But yeah,
that's the beauty of the comment section, is usually we find the answers to the questions from other people in the comment section, which is
because we have the best audience.
Exactly.
Yes.
Someone I had already scrolled by, so I didn't catch the name, but someone did say that Windows Narrator is very slow for them. Is that, I've never used it, obviously, so I don't know anything about it, but is it kind of slow?
I mean, it could vary. I mean, it depends. I mean, if you're slow in a sense of like performance, or it could be slow in a sense of your speech. Because you can slow down and speed up your speech. Like for me, when I use VoiceOver, I have mine set to almost 2/3, maybe like almost all the way up, because I've since I'm not using my eyes as much, I've tuned my ears to just rip through and listen faster. So, but if it's a performance level thing, there are some options. If you go to your task manager or your taskbar, if you're on Windows, right click, go into there's a lot of things on Google. I can even link to your comment some links to documents where it will help you disable things that are started up. Like if you've installed a bunch of software on your computer, a lot of software, like they'll set it up so it automatically loads when Windows loads, and that can chew up a ton of your memory on your computer, especially if they're all running at the same time. It will take the processes away from the process that you need.
Okay.
Yeah, I will say too that on Windows 11, they've really made that really easy to address that problem with a startup in the settings. It's super easy to go in there and disable or enable whatever you want.
Okay, Cynthia just stated, she said, I started using the themes in Office years ago. It was such a great tool. It helped me to stay working without screen reader for several more years. So that's awesome.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, this is off topic, but the power of THW said, how can I change my name in here to get my real name? And I guess Mike Wheeler did respond and said, to change your name in here, you need to go to your channel page and then change it that way. So just so you know, that's how to get it. You can't do it just in chat. You have to do it over all of YouTube. Yeah, I think that's all of the questions that are in here at the moment. And Sam, did you mention that you're also like at the last live stream, we talked about Sam doing a series of, did you guys already talk about that?
I did. I mentioned that Matt's going to be on there. And that will be
our guinea pig. He's going to be the first interview today.
He is.
Hey,
yeah.
There you go.
And those videos will be coming out. I'll mention it again, since there's probably people in here that weren't there in here earlier, but we're going to be doing a whole series on, I think we're going to call it Working Blind. And it's just about what different VIPs do for a job, not just in like assistive technology or accessibility. I'm going to try to get a nice range of people, and just so to share what they do, what's available for those in the community. And those videos will be coming out every day in December. I'm going to be posting every single day. So that's why we're starting early.
We were pretty impressed with ourselves. We started to try to make a list of people that we knew of that had jobs that people might be interested in. And just like literally in like a couple minutes time, we knocked out 25 people or something, Sam?
Yeah.
It was a bunch. So it was pretty cool. Although we do need to try to get it a wider variety, because a lot of them are people that work in assistive tech.
Yeah. So.
Oh, okay. So someone did have another question here. They said, Oh, has Microsoft ever thought about adding, I just scrolled off my screen, sorry, adding old text on their games, like the card game Spades? It would be so easy to do. That's probably well out of your area, isn't it, Matt?
It is, but I can share the feedback. There's a ton of feedback in there. One of the really cool things, if you look up Xbox gaming accessibility online, they've made a ton of improvements, and now they're even setting games with where you can filter out games and only look at games with accessibility stuff in them. I mean, they're the Xbox group, like Solitaire. I mean, all the different games that we have in Windows. It's a great suggestion, but I'll definitely I'll share the feedback, and then I'll post back a link to under your comment. I'll post back a link to how you share the feedback. One really cool thing that a lot of people don't realize, anytime you hit the send a smile in Microsoft Edge, in Microsoft Windows, and Microsoft Office, whenever you send those smiles, those go to the actual product managers that own that product. That feature and that suggestion, that feedback box, goes directly back to those teams. I love it because one of my buddies, Chris, I won't give his last name out here, but like Chris is a product manager, and it's super funny because people will send a smile in on his apps that he owns, and he'll respond to them, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I didn't think somebody was on the other end of this. Like they'll like freak out. But I definitely ask everybody, like, if you have feedback about any of our products at Microsoft, just send a smile, click on the feedback button. People actually do listen to it.
Awesome. Okay, Sam, this is totally not Microsoft related, but Roger was asking, he said, I have an Iris Vision and YouTube is not supported now. Do you know why? Do you know anything about that?
Oh, no, I don't. I hadn't heard them changing any of the features of, is it the Iris Vision Live or the Iris Vision Inspire? I wonder. Yeah, I hadn't heard. I haven't talked to Iris Vision in quite a while, so I'm not sure.
I'm going to try mine on when we get done.
See if it works for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Mackenzie said, hey, Matt, have you ever used the Amazon TTS program with Microsoft apps to read the document or PowerPoints? It's great. I didn't even know Amazon had that.
No, I didn't either. I definitely, I'm my wheelhouse from an accessibility standpoint. I use anything I can internally, just because it's free. And then in addition, if I have problems, I can go talk to the people that own it and be like, hey, this isn't working for me. And but yeah, that's awesome. There's the coolest part. There was a public article. I'll have to try to find it and throw it in the comments. But Amazon, Google, Apple, and Microsoft. There was like a thing a while back where all of the companies kind of publicly said together they're gonna like they want to start working together to bridge the disability divide, because there's so many cool things out there, and in assistive technology, sometimes I feel like and this is just me being my opinion, my transparency. It's sometimes I think it feels like a race for everybody where they're all trying to get to the end zone at the football game. But if we collaborate and work together, we could solve so much stuff. From an OCR, like everybody's OCR is different. Like everybody's tools are different. If I would love to see a world where all of the assistive tech giants come together and say, hey, let's knock this out for once and for all, and just start sharing, almost like open source. I think that'd be amazing. But,
especially with all the resources they all had, pooling all of that together. If they put it towards evil things, it would be truly a nightmare. But if they put it towards good, yeah, amazing.
Yep. Yeah. I'll keep. I mean, for internally speaking at Microsoft, I'll keep. I'm always going to kind of beat that drum of just like working together. Like I got on the phone the other day with the team that owns Microsoft Lens on the iPhone. You can download this thing called Microsoft Lens, and it has immersive reader built into it, and it does OCR on your documents and things like that. I got on the phone with the teams that do the soundscape. That was a huge hit at Visions. And then Seeing AI, like all of these different tools, when I'm using them, I can tap right into those things. So like if you're listening to the channel today and you're on the live stream, you have questions, concerns, comment in there, call me out on it, talk to Sam, like whatever, or Rachel, whatever it takes. If you have questions about something, reach out. I'd be more than happy to hunt down the answer internally for you.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah. I wonder if the person that last comment or question was talking about using, going to the apps through like an Amazon Fire tablet or an Amazon product, because Amazon's Voice View is their screen reader. And I've always said, I think it's one of the best voices on a screen reader. It's one of the most pleasing. It's just very soothing. It's like, I could listen to you all day.
Yep.
I wonder if that's what they're talking about.
I love the internal, like when Apple came out with the idea or the option to let Siri be my reader.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was so groundbreaking for me. Because like I have mine set up to the British female, so I feel like James Bond. So like,
well, and I've heard some, I had British Daniel for a long time. Yeah. I heard some rumors about Apple soon letting you like record your own voice and using that either for Siri or for voiceover or someone else's voice. So you could have, I could have Rachel be my Siri from, she's my digital and real life assistant.
Does anyone really want to hear their own voice? Like, I definitely do not want to hear my own voice talking back at me through my phone.
I don't know. Somebody might.
It'd be nice if you were out if you had a traveling job and you wanted to like feel like your wife was near, you could just like have your wife be the virtual voice.
Yeah.
But no, this is definitely I love technology. It's amazing to see how much advancements. I mean, I've shared it with you many times, Sam, is like all your reviews on products. When I first found your channel, I bought the Iris Vision, I bought the Clover Book, and I bought all of those things was specifically and purely off of your review of the product, because I was like, whoa, that's exactly what I need. And they've been game changers. I mean, having my Clover Book, I've got a Ruby 7 sitting here on my desk. It's probably bad that it like doesn't show up correctly, but I use it on my mail. When I'm reading mail, I used to take pictures with my cell phone, and I'm like, man, I got this thing sitting right here. Why not I just use it? So, but yeah, I mean, it's been incredible.
Good. I'm glad.
Mr. Kane said, I love the support that I get from Microsoft on the application Be My Eyes. And then I think this is completely separate. Can you tell me what is the ideal power setting for a desktop on Windows 10? I have no idea what that means. I don't know. You might.
Yep. So there's a setting in there called balanced. It will basically provide the best of both. There are some options to take into consideration when you're thinking about power settings. Like my machine, I have mine to never go to sleep. So like, cause I'll get up, like I have these Bluetooth Jabra headphones, and they work about 60 feet from my device. So I'll get up, I'm sitting upstairs in our house right now. I'll go downstairs, I'll go into my room back over here. Like I'll walk around the house. And if I'm away from my machine for a little bit and there's no movement, it'll lock. So that's one thing that you could look at in your power settings, go into advanced, and then make sure it's unbalanced, because that'll give you the best of both worlds. And then just make sure you go through and set the settings that you need. I primarily have my Surface laptop. I have it plugged into a 34-inch widescreen right now, and nothing's on my laptop screen. Like it's a completely black screen. I disabled it. All I'm using is the video outside from the device itself. So a lot of those types of settings can help improve the performance. Also, like we talked about earlier, go in and check your startup. Make sure that your startup isn't clogged up with a bunch of apps running constantly.
Yeah.
Okay. Sirat2 said, Sam, Marley Matlin is working with Microsoft to put all together text in for CC and IMSG on her Twitter, because that will help Braille displays work better too. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Joshua said it would be nice if Seeing AI and Soundscape were on Android.
That's the go ahead.
I shared that feedback after I was at Visions. Everybody kept coming up with Android going, where's it at? Where's the app? Where's the app? And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I shared it with the team. The cool thing is the not sound. I didn't hear anything from Soundscape, but seeing AI, it's on the roadmap. Like it's on the roadmap. So I don't have dates. I don't have times. I'll come back to this comment. I can reach out to them next week when I get back to work. If they have dates finalized and dialed in. But yeah, it's definitely, those are massively important tools. I mean, I've showed seeing AI to so many people. Somebody brought Be My Eyes up earlier. Be My Eyes is actually the preferred method to contact the disability answer desk at Microsoft. So there's a disability answer desk which will help you with accessibility, questions, concerns, comments, feedback, stuff like that. And the preferred method is to download Be My Eyes, launch it, click on Microsoft, and go through that option. And it's really, really sweet, that whole process.
That's cool.
Yeah, I can echo the Seeing AI team. They've been hearing that since it launched on iPhones forever ago. I ran into them. We went to a conference, ACB conference in St. Louis, and Rachel, I think, what was it, like 2018, 2017? And
yeah,
we ran in.
Yeah, sometime before COVID, 2018 probably.
We ran into the Seeing AI team there, and I said it at the time, like, you got to bring it to Android. When is it coming to Android? And they didn't have any answers then. So I guarantee you that's the number one question they get asked. It works on Android because there was a device that I won't mention what it is, but it was an Android-based device, and it was using Seeing AI. Like they worked with them to put it on this device. So it works on Android. It's just I don't know why, but hopefully, with what Matt said, hopefully it will be coming soon. Let me know first, Matt. I need to be the first to know.
Okay, I will. I'll text you before I post a comment.
All right, good. I have to be the first.
Joker Alice said that and Roger said that Envision AI is free now, and that's on Android. And then Joker Alice said, not to mention there's SuperSense too.
Yeah, SuperSense is a subscription. Envision used to be a subscription, so that's nice that it's free. There's another one called Audible Vision. I think they changed it to Audivision, AUDIVISION. That has similar, it's still in beta. I did a video about that. It has similar features as Seeing AI, and that's on Android, and it works really well. Fastest OCR I've ever tested was on that app. So there are options. Google Lookout. Sorry.
Faith said, could you make a future tutorial on how to use a Windows tablet with accessibility? I've been wanting one. I just can't figure out how to turn on accessibility features. Do we have a Windows tablet, right?
Well, yeah. So you have your Surface is essentially just take it off the keyboard, and it's a Windows tablet. And I've made a video on Windows Magnifier on a touch screen. I've never done one on like narrator. Which honestly, I've never done a narrator video. I was talking about this with someone the other day. I've never done a narrator or a JAWS or an NVDA dedicated video because they're such insanely big programs. It's like, it's basically like I'm going to do a video and teach you how to use your entire computer. That's basically what you're doing. So it's difficult to, squeeze that down into a 10-minute video. So I've definitely never done one on a touch screen, though. That's the tricky part.
Yeah, and it sounds like she mainly just can't figure out how to turn on the accessibility feature. So it's not really so much showing how to use them, but just knowing how to even access them to begin with.
Yeah. Well, without any kind of peripherals like a keyboard or mouse or anything, you do basically have to go into the settings and turn magnifier on, and then it will work for you, right, Matt? I think
Yep. And on a computer, if you have like a Surface or like whatever kind of tablet it is, we call it the sys tray. It's on the bottom right hand side of the screen. If you're looking down there and if you don't have magnifier on, if you're low vision, I don't know what your vision is right now, but if you're low vision like me, I would hold it up close, and then on that bottom right side, that sys tray, there should be a little upward arrow. If you click on that or anywhere around there, it looks like a miniature keyboard. If you tap on that miniature keyboard, it will slide up the keyboard from the bottom. And then you'll be able to use like Windows Plus to turn on magnifier without going into the settings and things like that. Another tip from touch devices, especially if it has Windows on it, pressing on something with your finger and holding it, like press and hold, leave your finger on it, that will bring up submenus. So that might help you get a little farther. But if on your comment, if you tell me what kind of device it is and things like that, I can look up the settings.
Yeah, and if you're on Windows 11, you can do the slide out from the right to pull out your that little window, and then you should have an accessibility quick button on there, right?
Yep.
I think by default.
The tasks. Yep. It
Yeah.
launches right into accessibility.
Yeah, on Windows 11.
Correct.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? If you asked a question, I haven't answered it, it's because I didn't see it. So pop it down below, and then I'll type it again and I'll find it.
Yeah, and then while you guys are doing that, I would like to extend a huge thank you from the Blind Life community to Matt for joining us for this and giving such amazing information. If Matt's okay with it, I'll put his contact information or some sort in the description. If you guys need to reach out to him, you can do that. And I also want to thank Matt and his team for providing some of the contest prizes for our talkback, our last talkback, where Rachel and I answer comments, a monthly show where we answer comments. In the last episode, we announced the giveaway for this month, and it's one of Matt's Surface kits, adaptive kits, and one of their programmable mouses. So huge thank you to Matt for doing that. He's the one that got that all squared away for us.
Yeah, and I would strongly urge, like, the Surface adaptive kits, even though it says Surface, and the Surface team might like throw a pen at me when I go on the campus next time, but it says Surface adaptive kit. It means that like the clear buttons and stuff were designed specifically for the Surface dimensions, like the buttons, but the bump dots, the tactile options, like all of that's in that kit when you get yours from that giveaway. You can put them on anything. When I was at the Visions conference, I was putting them on Lenovo's, I was putting them on Dell's, on HP's, on Surfaces. I mean, if people had a device, we were sticking bump dots on it, and we loved it. I mean, for me, my Surface keyboard, if I'm looking at it, it's a black keyboard with small little white text on it, and my power button is inlaid with my function keys at the top. It's not a separate button, so I would always have to get up close to it to find it. So I added bump dots to everything that I need to click on there. So now I just reach over. I know where that orange bump dot up at the top is my power button.
Yeah. Yeah. And so these are specifically made to go on keyboards. I mean, anybody can just put bump dots on their keys. That's what I've got on my keyboard right here, just regular bump dots. But what's cool is these were designed for keyboards. So yeah, really exciting.
And Matt, you blew Brad from Two Blind Brothers' mind with the bump dot keyboard bump dot things. That was hilarious.
It was so fun meeting everybody at that conference. Like my biggest thing for me about like just meeting everybody was I've never been around. My sister Marissa has Stargarts, so I've only seen Stargarts from like her and me, but being at that conference and being in the room and being surrounded for 2 days by people with Stargarts, I mean, it was just like, I came home and I needed to like take a sabbatical for 3 weeks to like let my brain like process, because I was like, whoa, like this is like the fact that Stargardt's is a degenerative disease. Like it didn't register with me, but the most as I met people there, I've talked to them about their vision journey, what they walk through, and I was like, whoa, and like that, like a lot of those types of things just massively amazed me. But yeah, meeting Brad was super fun. Chad Foster was another guy there that was talking. It was really cool. It's been super fun. I mean, if I could do accessibility full time, I would, but I just love work. My team that I'm on, our Ranger team, it's such a cool group of guys that I don't think, I mean, my manager's super cool with it. He goes, I said, can I do 75% my real job and then 25% accessibility? He goes, sure. I'm like, done. All right, let's sign this contract and we're good. So I get to do 25%.
I suggested to Sam, I think we should do a video, and it could even be a Zoom with multiple people, but just talking to people about like what they get out of going to conferences and why they think people should go to conferences. Because I think like for you, I mean, it's almost life-changing. Like it really is amazing to just be surrounded by people, and like literally you didn't have to worry at all about someone looking at you weird or, you know, like anything like that. I don't know. It's just cool to hear so many stories and see all the, and you know, most of the conferences Sam's been to have always been like tech related in some way. So there's always like all the cool gadgets and stuff, but I think that would be a good video. I think to encourage people like, hey, if there's a conference in your area, go.
100%. And one thing too, like kind of giving a shout out to the Foundation Fighting Blindness from that Visions conference, but we have like a Tampa chapter and we're having a speaker series in August that I'm going to do some accessibility training there, but the Foundation Fighting Blindness has chapters all over the place. So if you plug into those chapters, and not even just the Foundation Fighting Blindness, the NFB, like all of the visual VIP type communities all over the country have different options. But if the money situation, getting to a conference, I know because some of them can be expensive, plug into your local communities and chapters and things like that, because there's opportunities there. It's just getting around like-minded people that are walking through the same thing you're walking through. It can help you along that journey. I mean, it's that conference was massively important. I'll be in a couple of years. I don't know where it's going to be, but I'm going wherever it's going.
Yeah, it's just the support aspect too. Like you said, talking with people and finding out where they are on their journey. And you realize that, and then even, you know, you would think, there were a lot of older people there with Stargarts. You would think they were more adjusted than the younger ones, but not necessarily. So it was cool to connect with them. And I always say steel sharpens steel, right? So, you know, the best way to learn how to adapt and adjust to your situation is to be around other people who have already done that and can help guide you. So I'm sure, you know, people talking with you, Matt, during that conference, you probably helped them a lot. Well, you already said, you know, being at the booth and people being so excited about learning about what's possible with their technology. So, you know, there's a lot of benefit to going those conferences for sure.
100%.
Okay, so we have a litany of just kind of off-topic questions, but questions nonetheless. So Sam, did you ever have a Galaxy S7?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So Ben is saying that when he turns it on, even if he doesn't use it, it heats up really bad. Does yours do that? Is that normal or?
I mean, it's been so long ago. I know that those earlier ones did. And the fact that the phone is so old, I mean, we're on Galaxy S20s now and 22 Ultras and stuff. It could even be a battery thing. You know, your battery is just wearing out and heating everything up.
I feel like that's happened with some of my phones before, and I think it was probably the battery getting old, because it's like it didn't happen as soon as I got the phone. It was like after I had the phone for a while, it would start to heat up. Yeah,
something that old, that really there's a whole laundry list of possible things that could be causing that. It would be really tough to diagnose.
Okay, Cynthia said, do you know how to pair hearing aids to use with screen reader, or the best headphones to use that don't actually go in the ear? You probably don't know a whole lot about that, do you, Sam?
No, I mean, they would need to be Bluetooth enabled, obviously, and your device would need to have Bluetooth. But it shouldn't be too difficult. I don't know anything about it, but it really shouldn't be. I know a lot of people that have them and use them. So it really shouldn't be anything difficult. And, you know, however you trigger the Bluetooth in the hearing aid, and the name of the hearing aid or something similar like should show up in the list on the device, and then it should just work. As far as over the ear headphones,
probably like any gaming headphone, right? I
mean, I use gaming headphones for here, my computer here. I use some noise cancellation Bluetooth ones when I travel, but nothing specific.
I've seen
Matt, do you have any suggestion?
I've seen people, I don't have them up here because they're downstairs plugged in, but there's these things called aftershocks, and they're bone in, like I have those, and they go over my ear and they sit next to it. And I wear those because I used to ride cycle bikes, like the speed bikes with my buddy Rob. And I started with AirPods, and like those just block everything. And I couldn't hear traffic. I couldn't hear other riders. I couldn't hear walkers that we were around. So like I cut over to the aftershocks. And so that would be a recommendation that I would say, you, that way it's not even close to your ear. It's just sitting right next to it, right on the side.
Yeah.
Okay. This is an interesting question. DJ was saying, can dots on a keyboard potentially scratch a laptop screen? Which I feel like usually those dots are kind of like rubbery, right? Like they're pretty soft. So it seems unlikely.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, and I guess it depends on how low profile your laptop is when it's closed, like how close the screen is to the keys. If anything, it might just depress the key, and I don't know if that could cause any potential damage over time. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like looking at my computer, my keyboard probably is flat against my screen when I close it. The surface, right? It seems like it would be. They're not,
Mine
the keys aren't like recessed. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's the same thing, but I'm a major nerd about having screen protectors. I mean, all of my kids' devices have screen protectors. If it's scratched or if it's peeling, we peel it off, we go get another one, because Five Below has them for like $5. So it's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you just go buy it. So so yeah, I just, as long, if you have a screen protector on, that's what I'd recommend doing, getting one for your device.
Okay. John said, any chance of adding pinch to zoom on the magnifier? Does it not have that?
So the Windows magnifier does not on touch screens, and that's something that I would love to see. It's just more intuitive. Some of the third-party ones, like Zoom Text and stuff, do enable or support pinch to zoom on touch screens, but Windows magnifier doesn't. And I don't know anything about it, so I don't know why or what, what the issues with that would be, but I would love to see it myself as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, on mine, I'd have to like set up my laptop screen. I can, if it's a comment on there, what I'll do is I'll try it on my machine. I have a touch screen laptop, but I don't think it can necessarily, I know I can zoom it when it's zoom, if I invoke magnifier and I do like Windows plus and it's in, and I pinch it, I can zoom the screen in, but I even use on my mouse pad on my Surface, like I can use the gestures on there. But
oh, like the pinch to zoom?
Yeah, on Surface.
Oh.
Like you have a Surface, what's your Surface Go, or what do you have?
I don't know, Sam, what do I have?
It's a Surface.
Sweet. Yeah, so on your Surface, your keyboard, your Surface keyboard that clicks to it,
Yeah.
all of the gestures that you would normally do will work on that touchpad too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I don't know as much about it. I have the Surface Studio, which is what this guy is right here, computer.
Ooh.
That's what I use up here, and I've got it going to the 32-inch monitor, like you said. So I haven't fully played around with it because I use a mouse and a keyboard. So maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe I need to investigate that a little bit further.
I'll mess with mine right after we get done talking, and I'll post a comment in there.
Yeah.
M. Erkin said, it would be really nice if Windows magnifier was compatible with like eye tracking devices, so it would just follow where you look. That's like magnification of the future. That's actually a really cool idea. The eye tracking software that they use for people that like maybe have brain injuries or whatever, that use their eye tracking to type.
So that's a good question. ATIA, the System Technology Conference in Orlando, which Matt, you might want to check this out. Every year they have a ton of eye tracking stuff. That seems to be like the big thing there. And I've often wondered how it would work with the other accessibility, but because we don't have central vision, I've always kind of blown it off as this is not something I'll ever use because I'm not looking directly at what I want to see. But then I had actually had a company reach out to me like 2 weeks ago asking me to review their product, which was this little camera system that sat on top of your computer and it did eye tracking. And I just like, thank you, but no, thank you. That's not what my channel's about. But I thought about, in kind of debating whether to do that video, I thought about it and I thought, well, you know what? I do always look in the same spot, the same direction if I want to see something, because I'm just used to getting my blind spot out of the way in that direction to see something. So maybe it would work. It would just have to track, my eyes in a slightly different way. But
yeah, you'd have to be able to like set it up so it could apply the offset that you have, which anyone with a blind spot, that would be the case. Obviously, it's not going to work well for people that have what's it called? Astigmatism or whatever it is, that your eyes kind of shake. Yeah, nystagmus. Yeah. That's not going to work.
Your mouse would be going back and forth all day.
would not be good, but it's a cool idea. And I'm sure, I bet someone somewhere is working on that because it's just a cool idea.
Well, actually, on that note, I spoke with a professor in Sweden. I think it was Sweden. It was like 3 years ago. And they were working, I did some consulting stuff for them, but they were working on a project. She was actually one of the main team that first invented eye tracking technology years ago. And she was talking about how they are kind of a side project of making these goggles that like the Iris Vision VR style goggles, that it will track your eyes. And then in the goggles, you can simulate different vision impairments. And the problem with, there are glasses that's like for macular degeneration, they'll have a little smudge part in the middle and you're supposed to put them on. And it's like, oh, this is what someone with MACD sees. But the problem is, you could just kind of look, the sighted person can just kind of look around the smudge, it's fixed. But using this eye tracking stuff, the smudge would follow your eyes. So it would always be in that central vision so that the person would get a true sense of what it was like to have that vision impairment. I was like, oh, that's such a smart idea of how to use that technology for something like that. So there's a lot of cool things coming up down the line, probably.
Yeah. One recommendation I would say with that, rather than using it with your eyes, if you have the magnifier turned on under the settings, there's one for it to follow your mouse. So hopefully I think it should be on by default when you turn it on. But if it's not, that way, wherever your mouse is, like I don't have my magnifier's not invoked and turned on right now. I'm looking at Sam on the Zoom screen. But if I wanted to read something, now I move my mouse, I can tap the button and I zoom in, and then wherever my mouse is sitting is where it zooms in at. But so as long as you have yours set to follow your mouse pointer, you should be able to at least navigate and move it around.
And Matt, do you do the center focus pointer or do you do the old school?
Mine's edges. So I used to have this 34-inch, and then I have over here in the other room, I have a 32-inch monitor. I just got rid of that monitor 2 days ago because I was talking to a guy named Jeremy Curry at Microsoft. He's the guy behind Magnifier, a lot of the cool stuff.
Very familiar with Jeremy.
Yeah, so Jeremy's awesome, and
yeah,
he challenged me the other day to get rid of my second monitor because like my magnifier would bleed over there, and when I was typing, the text cursor would hop, and I felt like I was like whoo, whoo, like following a squirrel all over the place. So I got rid of the second one. I've only got one 34-inch in front of me now, and it has been a game changer. Just getting to one monitor, I mean, it's been phenomenal. So but yeah, I have mine set to stay within the edges of the screen. And then I even looked at like some of the power toys that they have. But as long as I have my mouse pointer set large, I move it around. I can kind of see it with my peripheral. I see where it's at. And once I find it, I have the edges with like a white little bevel. So it just stands out against other objects.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Okay. We do not have any other questions in here. It looks like you guys got them all, and we've been on here almost an hour and a half, I think.
All right. Well, we will we'll go ahead and wrap it up because we're going to record our second video, which will be coming out in sometime in December. And then we don't want to take Matt away from his entire Saturday. So once again, Matt, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing us all this cool stuff. And if you guys have questions for Matt, after this is all done, I'll edit the description with his contact information.
Absolutely. More than happy. Like, I will be your accessibility bulldog. If you got something with Microsoft, I like literally ask. And I don't care if it takes me a week to work through all the comments or all the emails, whatever it takes. Let's do this together.
And then that's where Matt made his first mistake.
Yes.
No way. No, I've had people from Visions. I gave my email address out to every person at Visions, and I've had people reaching out all the time. And it's just, I don't care. I mean, it's like, if I can, like Sam, you and Rachel have the same bug. It's like, you have to, like, if you have an answer to something and you hold on to it, like, you have to share it. Like, yeah. It's like having the key to unlock the car and be like, they're locked out. Look at them. Like, it's like, no way. I gotta help them. So it's addictive.
Well, perfect example of that. We were, I know we need to get off, but we were driving through a parking lot the other day. And as we got in the car, Rachel sees the guy in front of us, sees that his tire is kind of low. But she notices as we were pulling out of the space and kind of pulling away, and then I could tell it bugged her. She's like, I really wish I should have said something. I was like, we can turn around. She's like, no, we were already leaving the parking lot at this point.
Well, he was already driving by that point. I would have had to he probably would have thought I was like a road rager or something trying to track him down. But it did bother me because I'm like, his tire's really low.
she has that helping bug that she can't help. She wants to help, and it bothers her when she can't.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for watching and joining us for this. And stay tuned. As I said, if you want to win the Surface Adaptive Kit or the programmable Microsoft mouse, you got to go watch our last Talkback. It was Talkback July 2022 episode.
And the winner will be announced probably next week. Well, no, probably the week after next. We usually do it the first week of the month. So
yeah. In the next Talkback video, we'll make the announcement. So there's still time. Go and enter that contest. But that's it. If you guys have any questions for me or anything like that, or Matt, leave those in the comments down below, and we'll do our best to help out. And we will see you guys later. I'm going to end the call, so it's going to hang up on both of you as well. But thank you guys for helping out with this.
Awesome.